What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Agency Breakthrough podcast. Today, we have an amazing guest. He's also quite known in the space because he started his own cold email infrastructure. Welcome, Mr. Yannick Schwock, also German. So, I'm Baisano from me. I'm really excited to have you on the podcast, my friend. So, maybe you
There
tell
you
the
go.
people a little bit about you if the people don't know you. That would be great.
Thank you so much, Jonas. I really appreciate the invite. Yeah, I don't know much to say actually. I just been in the space quite a bit, but ironically, this is the first podcast, so it should be very, very fun. And let's see what happens over the course of this hour or so. But yeah, I would consider myself as one of the 30 people in the world nerding out about cold email deliverability the most, and
Mhm.
ended up building quite a few businesses in the space. The one that I'm doing right now is like literally the one we've been committed to for quite some time, like almost 2 years now and counting. So
Mhm.
it's been a good journey, and hopefully we can drop some nuggets of value over this conversation.
For
Thanks
sure,
for
we
having
will,
me.
100%. Okay, let's talk about like how long you already in the space now. That I'm quite interested into this.
I'd say 2 years and some months,
Mhm.
right? So officially, publicly, I think if you check my LinkedIn, Sending.ac has been going on for like now a year and like 8 months or something like that. That's like when you
Okay.
started putting stuff online.
Mhm.
Before then, I've been already building another scraper for 8 months. And then before
Mhm.
that, quite a few months of just anonymous, like quite relatable, I believe, to people listening, just trying to figure out agency spaces, models, positioning, and how do you do
Mhm.
that with cold email, right? So I've been
Mhm.
around for a minute, not the 5 years or 6 years, like some other people, but
Mhm.
enough to completely breathe and think of nothing else the last few years.
Like with sending, I assume you have an North Star, you have a big goal. So
Yes.
what's it now?
Sending.ac people look at right now and they think of an infrastructure. Um,
Mhm.
the thing is, our industry is probably the only industry in the world that mislabels the term infrastructure.
Mhm.
Infrastructure means actually everything like is like truly like it's foundational, like it's the AWS of the world, right? And yeah, mailboxes are kind of that, but you really become infrastructure when you control the entire space and everything. Basically, there's no way you someone does not go through your stuff.
Mhm.
So to paint the picture a little bit better, right now the reason the demand is so high for deliverability, for there I already said it, for infrastructure is because of deliverability.
Mhm.
There's two forces at play. One,
Mhm.
software is making it easier for people to come in. Then there's a
Mhm.
spam police, for lack of better terms, pushing people out. It's this endless force back and forth, right? Bringing more people in, making it harder for everyone. Bring more people back and forth. And the
Mhm.
battle where it's fought with back and forth, where you feel the pain is deliverability, because you'll send campaigns, it'll just stop working.
Yeah, that's true.
And deliverability is a little bit like a black box. It's really difficult to understand because there's so many variables. And
Mhm.
all the variables, like some of variables are with this kind of vertical, some variables are with this kind of vertical, and yes, infrastructure is the one with the biggest variable.
Mhm.
But the reason we will never be able to guarantee at this stage still deliverability, like being a guaranteed outcome, is because we cannot control the other verticals,
Mhm.
right? So we're not just sending AC, we're an AC suite. So we already have, if you go to Clones.ac, that's already live. Inside.ac, already live. And we're going to have Domains.ac, we're gonna have Warm.ac, we're gonna have Verify.ac, Context.ac, we're gonna have everything. And it's all gonna be just so seamlessly connected, literally weeks away from now, that everything is gonna be beautifully authenticated, that if you logged in here, and you go to this website, you're already logged in. You basically buy your infrastructure here, and then you're going to have a way deeper level of domain overview of health status, like in a way that you've never had before on Domains.ac. And you only just basically go to that tool and you already see the domains you have here, there, but the data has actually been collected and showing you there, right? So
Mhm.
everything is just going to be beautifully connected.
Mhm.
And just to show you how we're innovating at every single layer, right now, Clones.ac I think is gonna dominate the market in the next 2 years. I think it will be absolutely tremendous because Clones.ac is the replacement for 301 redirects, which is, wait, hold on a second. Why do we even need to replace that? 301 redirects, essentially, for the non-technical people here, means that you have many domains doing cold email, and you cannot do the main domain because if you make a mistake, that's burnt and your client will
Yeah,
hate
yeah,
you
yeah,
forever.
yeah.
You have to use multiple domains. But
Mhm.
if you do it on behalf of a client, you still want that if people type in that domain, because who sent me an email, to land up at the client's domain, right?
Of course,
The
yeah.
problem is the moment you do that, you just building a network of fingerprinting, which the entire name of the game of deliverability is avoiding that, right? So all of those things, they have essentially 50 domains all redirected to the same place. And guess what? Google is not stupid. They know what's going on. And what we're going to do is clones. We're going to clone a website and host it completely independently on all of those cold emailing domains, right? And that's, for example, just one aspect of how we're innovating on every layer. But the beautiful thing is, if now like you think, oh my goodness, that's so true. That's amazing. Let me just build a business around that. Sure, you can, but anyone who will try to compete with us will never succeed because we have this long-term vision and this long-term ecosystem, AC suite, everything tying together, that we don't have to monetize Clones.ac. So Clones.ac will be free. And then the entire industry will essentially in 1-2 years will normalize. Oh, same like we're echo chambering best practices, best practices, best practices. It will become the norm that everyone uses Clones.ac. And people get familiarized with .ac, which is our entire AC suite, right? And then the moment people use this, after 2 years, yes, spoiler, we will not be free forever, but we will be free for so long that no other person will ever be able to compete with us because that will become the norm. And then once we charge for it and this becomes a paid vertical, sure, there will be competitors, but this will be the name like Clay is for list building. Everyone goes here for this. And this is literally not even 5% of our entire AC suite. So we're building something massive. It's going to be absolutely big. And also on that note, we are always looking for the best people. If you are a B player, then please do not apply. If you're an A player and you consider yourself truly an A player and want to become even better, then of course apply. We have a lot of open positions open right now. But yeah, we're building something really big. And we're giving good ownership away for everyone involved. So it's not just the Yannick thing. It's genuinely, I'm in a minority, by the way, in terms of ownership. I've given up a lot of equity to bring the best people on board to have the greatest team just build something massive.
Wow. Very interesting. So you're really thinking big, right? That's for sure.
Not just big. I mean, like people get uncomfortable when I say those numbers. I will not say the names right now, but I'm just going to paint the picture a little bit.
Yeah.
So they're the biggest player right now. I'm not going to say names. Those are inside information. So I also really want to be careful a little bit. The biggest players in infrastructure right now, right? They have 25 million ARR. Yeah, so that's roughly 830,000 in MRR. Another player that I know of, also inside information, has roughly 700K MRR. Yeah, monthly recurring revenue.
Wow. Okay.
That each of those players have roughly 5% market share of just infrastructure.
Is it so many players?
Yes.
Though?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, the thing is,
I didn't
roughly
know that.
60%, 70% is Google or Outlook right now, who takes
Yeah.
the revenue, but
Yeah.
they are the duopoly when they don't even want you as cold emailers,
Yeah, no,
right?
of
So
course. I know.
they are the duopoly when they will penalize you the moment they find out. So right now, that is currently the market situation, and that is just infrastructure. So the current association infrastructure. When it really becomes infrastructure is when we have the entire ACs with everything tying together, and some people like no one will be able to do cold email without going through one of our tools, right? And then basically going, this tool is already works, and I use this tool, and then before you know it, they just use a whole bunch of it. Because right now, cold email, the status quo is that you have multiple, you cannot do cold email with one tool. You need many tools. So right now, people are gluing things with duct tape or whatever together to make it work. And we will be so seamless that using the duct tape solution with individual softwares, only looking at themselves in isolation, not being purely beautifully integrated, it will just not be able to compete.
Very interesting. Okay. So tell me a little bit more about this clone thing because I heard this before. So basically, like you build for every domain, like because normally what they this spam servers or in general what basically
Yes.
they do is they look if it's just a burner domain, right? This is basically what they check out. So okay, this is just that, but that's why also like always when there's like the the prefixes and the suffixes and all their bullshit, right? You know what I mean? This is also something that they obviously understand. So let's call it like, by for example, me pro limitless required or whatever, right? So this is basically just a burner domain. That already puts me in a bad light. And you guys here, you're basically building a website specifically then for this one.
Correct. So Clones.ac will purely just be to not have to use 301 redirects, but you can still have the feel of the same website on each domain. And that like you literally, the person typing in does not see a difference. But for the ESP, like the actual, like in everyone who evaluates whether they should penalize you or not, it looks like a fully hosted independent website that is sending the emails, which is extremely legitimate and makes so much of a difference from our data in terms of deliverability. Because think about it, it's so easy to see whether a domain has actually a redirect or it has something hosted. Like if there's content, HTML on the website, this looks like a business that does legitimate things, right? And that's just one of many variables. Like it goes so deep, and we've been doing so much research on this. Just like the amount of data that like DNS records are public, right? Obviously ESPs and everyone involved, they can just check stuff. So that it's very easy to just like there's certain behaviors, and like there's again, I don't want to just give away all of our sauce that we're building into Sending.ac, right? But there's so many details that like we are isolating in the highest level possible that no one in the industry has ever done. That when anyone checks, even on deep layer, it completely looks independent.
Interesting. Very interesting. I mean, it's like, you know that I also built domains one day, right? And I have a business partner for doing that. So we built domains and inboxes as well. And he's also a G, right? He's really good at what he's doing. But like, what's one thing that he also did? He's like, he did this, he said the same thing. That's why it's so interesting to me. He also said to me, we're going to build websites and blah, 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 blah. But he also said something else. Like, you also can, he said they even build blocks and stuff like this.
They will even, sorry, block?
They build blocks as well, like basically using this
Blocks.
page and building blocks and stuff like this also to make it more, even more, yeah, more real, as
Yeah.
more reliable, whatever. So
Yeah.
do you
Yeah.
do something like this as well, or?
I honestly don't understand what you mean with blocks. If you just mean putting more different content on a website that is essentially a block just to make it look
Yeah,
different every website.
yeah. So basically blocks, like what he means with this is like I think that the website also has a blog page or whatever, and there's always coming new blogs into this, so that is always something happening.
Always updating.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. We are literally, we have to stay very close to the website that is being cloned. We have some stuff in plans to diversify it further, but yeah, the rabbit hole never ends. And this is why it makes it beautiful, because it always, something that may not be an issue today may become an issue tomorrow. For example, right now, like a very clear example, OAuth in mailbox connection is currently the status quo,
Yeah.
right? And there is worse and better ways to go about this, and we have also spent a lot of time R&Ding an absolute superior option. So something like this is technically super fragile in the entire industry because no one goes the deepest layer like a layer like we do. They're just normalizing this and like, oh, it's fine, but it will not be fine forever. So at some point it will break, and when that breaks, because on a surface level, if you go to an infrastructure website, if you go to an infrastructure website, you don't know the difference. Everyone says the same shit, right?
Yeah.
You think everything's fine, and then you get burned like, oh yeah, shit, and then you end up diversifying across 10 people because everyone just kind of burns you because they actually behind the scenes is just dog shit. So if you go and you look at the OAuth, for example, that this is not a problem today, when it becomes a problem, right, then we are already set and we will be ahead of everyone else. We're there to catch all the traffic because everyone else will be fucked. Literally everyone, not just the infrastructure providers, also sequences because they're built like that right now, right? So, and how this now plays into your example with blocks? It's right now, this is not something we've built because the concept of cloning means it's supposedly gonna be, right, it looks the same. But this is already, like, again, right now the status quo is 301 redirects. Just having HTML, there is a website on that URL. There's so many steps beyond the status quo that this is good. But in 2 years, that may not be good anymore, right? So then we already need to be ahead And as long as we
Very
always did
German,
our thing,
always
yeah,
like
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny. I went to the in-person event from Michael Gardner. He's also one of the top 10, 15 names, right? In the industry. And everyone there was like a big agency and spent thousands of dollars to be at the
I
event.
know him, yeah.
And I was there, and I didn't even realize that because I think it's unheard of that there's the German people in infrastructure or like building software in a space, and I didn't value it or appreciate it enough. But I heard like in that same evening, like 2 or 3 times, like, oh, you're German, but your infrastructure, I'm sold.
This is what
brilliant.
this one you sold me, to be honest.
Yeah, there you go. And
It's
we have a
true, man,
problem.
honestly.
We have a problem because we like even that guy who had like this really big agency and whatever and like comes in board, he's also German now. And if he didn't have that profile, like, and also our CTO, he's also German. Work
I
with the
know,
Swiss
Felix,
and
yeah,
yeah, exactly, right? So we have so many people in our team right now who are German, and like we're not trying to build a German company for fuck's sake, you know. So I apologize for my French, but yeah, it's a problem because we want to always make sure that we don't over-engineer. It's only where we also have to move fast. I think we strike it quite well, but if anyone ever joins us, you'll notice we will never be fast enough. So we'll always try to strive faster. And that's why we have to diversify also across cultures. And we have already like too many German people in the company. We speak
Very
English,
interesting.
but still too many Germans.
Very interesting. One thing that you just said, like this thing with the websites, like because like what you said is really true. You basically duct type things together. So you take the domains from there, you do this like that, and then you put this like that. And obviously, like you can have like the best infrastructure, but when the domain's sucking, then it's all for nothing, right?
That's
So
it.
basically, what you do, you're going to you creating your own domains. That's the one thing. Like something like Porkbun, a spaceship. That's what you basically also have.
Register. This is in the roadmap, but this is like version 2.5, like big version iterations. What we plan with Domains.ac is it goes much beyond. The current version is already gonna revolutionize how like everyone approaches everything in our industry. You'll see when we go public about this. So I want to be a little bit careful because Clones and Insider we already have launched live, so I can talk about it more openly. We have literally things roadmapped the next 4 or 5 years, and each vertical that we're gonna go into is just gonna completely revolutionize the industry. Like even Domains.ac, like it was such a pivotal thing that we planned, and that domain was like very, very expensive. Like Domains.ac, like it just cost a lot of money, but we just couldn't compromise. Like we have this vision of putting everything together, so we just needed to get that. And and what we planning on Domains.ac will eventually go that path, but up until then, the short version, without saying any details, will be that it already will allow you to know better what's going on your domains, irregardless of the infrastructure.
Because normally you're almost blind, right? You have some
You're
few
completely
tools, but
blind.
you don't see shit. Exactly.
Completely blind. Completely blind. You have a better overview about what's going on than ever before, including current planning, including your current infrastructure providers. So you can like just by importing your domains, you'll see like what the fuck's going on over there. Do they do it correctly on the highest level, like our standards are? And then we'll obviously be able to shit talk everyone because no one does it at a level, and just show like error message. Oh, careful, careful. Which is cool because people just know what's going on, and then they will just see everyone else's shit. Sorry, and then it will come to us. So that's cool. That's number one. Just understand better what's going on with domains than ever before, and then if they buy domains with us, which again you can kind of see where this is going, that it's just better isolated, diversified than ever possible. So I cannot say exactly what we will do and how we will do it, but the current things that we've iterated in our planning is that it will be better diversified than ever before, and it'll feel like buying from a place where it was meant to buy for GTM, outbound, and all of that, as opposed to all of the registers, by the way, literally being a life cycle of eventually it's fine here and then everyone gets fucked.
Yeah.
Because like there was a time Namecheap was the go-to place, and then everyone now buying on Namecheap, if like literally the domain is bought there, you're penalized, right? The same thing happens with the other ones, and then eventually it happens. Right now, I still think everyone buys from Porkbun, but that's also a ticking time bomb, right? So it will literally be for like meant for you, where then the diversification is taken care of, that you don't have to worry about that, right? So it's just like you're not hiding, you're going to the place that's for you.
Fucking
That's the
great.
second thing. Yeah.
It makes a lot of sense. And like, what do you think? Like, because you said you put so much focus on this website thing on the Clone.ac. Like how much, just an idea of percentage of deliverability does that make really? Because that's what I'm curious of.
It's the same reason I don't say, oh, how much is your actual placement in with your infrastructure? Because the moment you say a number, people will like take it as gospel, etc., and there's too many variables affecting it. What
Okay.
we have seen is across multiple tests where it varies based on like industry and all of that, or whatever, it makes a difference. And whether that makes a bigger difference or less a difference based on the other variables being optimized or not, like it's an impossible question to answer. But at the end of the day, you just want to look at everything and make sure that you are doing it the best way possible. And the reason why we're able to do what we do is because the industry has gotten so complicated that basically no one can do it in-house anymore. Like 5 years ago, like that was the golden era. You could just like send whatever you wanted and you'd be fine. And you right, people refer to it as like the golden era of cold email. You could just do
Yeah, I
whatever,
was there. I sent like 3 links in
right?
an email from, I had one
That's it.
domain, right? I had one domain, one Microsoft domain. I was working in the time with, how's it called? Sales Handy, right? Like I think there was not even Smart Lead. Like Smart Lead came short afterwards. So basically, like I was working with Sales Handy and I had one Microsoft domain, 2 mailboxes, all right? And I sent 1,000 emails a day.
Crazy, crazy.
3 links
That's
in
it.
the
Yeah.
email, and I booked like fucking in 3 months. I booked everything full like for my client. It was completely insane, bro. If
And
you
and
look
the
at this
best part,
today, it's like insanity.
and the best
Uh,
part about that chapter
it
was
was best.
not only did it work well, it worked well for so long.
Yeah,
Things did not burn. It didn't cause
exactly.
random problems. It just worked.
Yeah,
And we're so far away from those days.
yeah.
I, I'm sorry, like it's nice for everyone listening in. Like you're gonna like, oh, the good old days. Like, yes, this is over. It's no longer
It's
easy.
over. Yeah.
Uh,
Agreed. Yeah,
and that's right. That's kind of the thing, right? So we went from a marketing first industry to a technology first industry, and
yeah.
that's why everyone's struggling because the people coming in are not tech people. And if you're now looking at people who are not tech people, who would otherwise have to essentially run the equivalent of a super complicated company just to do it well in-house, no one's going to do it in-house. So they're
Yeah.
trusting people, other people who do living for it. But I mean, just if you think about like if you really think about how obvious 301 redirects are a problem, like you just ended up isolating everything as good as possible, or you thought your provider does, like
Hmm.
that's your rationale, and then you still personally decide to do those redirects, like it's an obvious thing to point out of, and our entire industry did not even realize that's a problem. Like that's just
Hmm.
the most obvious one, right? The first one we can launch and like use as a growth vehicle for Sending.ac. But the yeah, the industry is just getting so complicated that the only way to still survive is by choosing the right tools at the end of the day. And we're just really striving to always be that choice over the next few years.
But you never thought of building a sequencer yourself.
We will,
You will.
but
Okay.
yeah, but that is not in the pipeline anytime soon. So yeah, if any one of the other, I don't know how far this podcast will reach, but in case someone from the sequencer world or working at Instantly or Smartly, whatever, not an issue. First, there's enough people for all of us, and then may the best person just take the cake. But we will not touch sequencer in a minute.
Okay, interesting. All right. Very interesting, man. Guys, I hope there was a lot of value from Yannick about deliverability. And maybe we really need to invite you once for my people to bring you
Yeah,
in as a deliverability expert because I think they will have so many questions and you will have the
yeah,
answers because I don't have them.
yeah. It's I feel like nobody has them. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
But you're
Unfortunately,
really into that, man. This is like you're
yeah,
completely like obsessed about it,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Truly am.
Interesting. Okay, interesting. All right. What it interests me
Mm.
personally. Like, what brought you to the idea basically to start Sending.ac? What was the starter for that?
This is a funny question because I've had that a lot of times in private when I'm talking to friends. And I unfortunately don't have an exciting answer. It's just like
Hmm.
no one wakes up and considers himself eventually like, oh, one of the top people about just called email deliverability and nothing else matters. That just
Hmm.
happens as you take one step and then another, and before you know it, you just follow your interests more. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's a long sequence of steps of a whole bunch of failures, learning, and my goodness, things that I've gone through that just ended up where I'm at right now with an amazing team. So
Hmm.
it's just a journey. Not much to say here.
Interesting. Okay. And like you said before, you created a scraper. And what did you do before? I saw you worked for Tesla one day, right?
I did do that, yeah. I did do
Oh,
that.
look,
Yeah,
this is
my
interesting. Tell me more about that.
oh goodness, my journey has been a wild one. Whew, I've never had a time in my life where I did not work hard. And that was one chapter, for better or worse, where I was just sweating real hard with work, but I did not yet have all of the learnings that I've come through of years of entrepreneurship that I'm fortunate to have today. So I would consider that chapter just a brute force, every minute spent pure just working. Yeah, excuse my French, I don't want to say those words, but just working in a way that is just absolutely unbearable. And that just completely drained me out. And I think that was also part of the reasons that laid the foundation for me to want to work with the same energy later on, more efficient with like actually leverage and time spent, but that same energy towards something of my own, right? And that was always the dream, but that was just the catalyst, I guess. Tesla was a funny one because if you go look up the LinkedIn, I was technically an intern, which is absolutely ridiculous because I had the exact same KPI and sales targets like any other sales employee there. So it wasn't sales. And just to paint the picture of how nuts Tesla is, the KPI was to sell 5 cars per week. So if you do the math, like that's basically every day, which is pretty nuts. And those numbers do not exist at any other car dealership. And a Tesla, when you sell a car, you don't just sell a car, you're responsible for the entire sales process from beginning all the way to the end. And spoiler, when you buy a Tesla, you don't just take the car and you leave. It's a sales cycle of weeks, sometimes months, where if anything happens, you're the contact person and you have to help with the leasing contract, getting the bank communication back and forth, everything ready, making sure everything goes well from the point of like an initial monetary commitment, which is very small, all the way to the purchase of the final. The moment something happens, you get shit from a sales manager. It was a rough time. It was a very rough time. And I guess the cool thing about that experience was that at 21 years old, I was able to mentally tell to myself, hey, I just did a few millions in sales, yeah, in a span of like 7, 8 months. And that is a cool milestone, but eventually it's obviously more fun to do something of that caliber for yourself and the people involved.
Interesting, because I mean, I heard a lot obviously about like working for Tesla. You just really have to work like 80 hours a week and stuff like that.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, there were not just a few days where we were working like some of those days like really like 13 hours or something like that. But
Crazy.
it's not necessarily the hours spent, and that was probably why it was so draining and so interesting of a chapter. And it's very difficult to isolate that chapter compared to all the things I've done in my life because every chapter was a different level of hard. And that was just like the first time, I believe, where I just didn't feel like I had enough time for what needed to happen. Right. And I think that was like the first time I kind of got exposed to like there's just not enough time in a day for like all the things that I need to do. And even though I've worked hard like in college also like before and like all the other chapters, it just didn't hit me like that before. And then even that's a fun one. In the interview, right before I got accepted, so that was already the tease that I got accepted because the sales manager told me when you're here, yeah, he already implied, when you're here, you'll notice 1 quarter is like 1 year at any other company.
Wow.
And I was like, all right.
This is
I don't know.
insane.
Okay. I
But
just
that's
nodded.
typical Elon Musk logic, right?
Yeah. I just nodded. Yeah. What's that supposed to mean? Okay. Let's just see. And I really, I swear to God, like it could not have been more accurate. I was there for a bit more than half a year, like 7.5 months, if I remember correctly. And it felt like 2 years. Like I've mentally aged so much in that time span. It was completely draining. Um, nuts. Yeah, it was definitely an experience.
Interesting. So
And
basically,
yeah,
yeah, go
go
on.
ahead.
Oh, go on, you.
And the fun one is obviously, even though you have the target of selling 5 cars a week, and no one virtually did this. Everyone just strive to go as close to this as possible. But yeah, I sold a decent amount, so it was like 2.3, 2.5-ish per week in sales, and that was quite good. And the cool thing is, my start was absolutely a good one. Like it was like an absolute peak because I joined right before end of quarter. I had more incentives to work with. I also have to be fair. But I can say that I sold my first car on day 3 and 7 cars by day 5.
Wow.
That was pretty good.
That was a
That was a
great
cool
start.
start.
You're like,
Yeah,
hey,
that was a
there's
good start.
a shining star coming from from the bottom up.
Perhaps,
Interesting.
yeah, perhaps that's why they kept me on the targets, even though, I think the only reason I had the same targets was because I just walked in and there was no guidance. It was just like laissez-faire, like just try to help, do whatever. And there were
Mhm.
only salespeople in that store. So I'm looking left, I'm looking right. Okay, a lead comes in, they talk to that person. So I do the same.
Mhm.
If the phone rings, they pick up, do this, put it in the CRM. Okay, I do the same. And before I know it, I'm just a salesperson that's not getting the same pay and it just works just as hard.
Monkey see, monkey do, right?
That's it. That's it. Yeah, sometimes that's not a bad thing. Yeah.
I love it, man. This is great. Okay, so you have been in college before in the US, or
No, I was studying in the Netherlands.
in the Netherlands? Okay,
Yeah, which
interesting.
I mean, college is like always like a do people recommend it or not? In my case, I think it was good, but not because of the content I've learned, and I don't want to badmouth the university. It is for the things that I've experienced in that time, which
Mhm.
it was like a University of Applied Sciences. So in the Netherlands, they call it
Mhm.
Hogeschool.
Mhm.
And what that curriculum allowed me was that I had 2 compulsory internship in the fixed 8 semesters that this is just taken, and 1 semester that could be abroad. So,
Mhm.
which means if you were overly ambitious, like already my young me, I really just couldn't see any other scenario. Then I want to do both internships abroad, which virtually no one does at the university,
Mhm.
which I was able to achieve. And I was able to do 1.5 years out of those 4 years, not even on campus, right?
Mhm.
Completely in a different country. And I
Mhm.
also, growing up in Germany, like the university was also already in another country,
Mhm.
close to the border, but in another country.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was cool for that experience of like being able to have that internship at Tesla, have those kind of shaping moments. And also maybe that, because I think a lot of your channel is about mindset and like just learnings and what to take from this.
Mhm.
I would say I'm really proud of what I've achieved up until now and what we will continue to achieve with an amazing group of people. But
Mhm.
I think I have to attribute all of this, truthfully, not just a little bit of it, all of this to the pivotal phase of moving in with 2 of my best friends in
Mhm.
college, where we were toxically competitive with one another.
Interesting. Tell me more about
Yes,
that. That's really interesting.
yes. So that has definitely been shaping me. So for those reasons, I think that was a good choice. But for the academic purposes, that's a different conversation altogether.
Yeah, but tell me more about this toxically competitive because that's like okay, it's like all right, this sounds super interesting. Like what's going on there?
Okay, let's put it this way. I'll tell you 2 things about that, and then I think that already paints the picture. A, when I went to Tesla, he went to Porsche, she went to BMW.
Oh, wow, interesting.
Okay. The first few, and then B, in the first few semesters, we were the top 3 of the entire marketing curriculum, as far as if those were, if I remember correctly, that's as far as we could tell. Not all the data was visible. That did not stay like that. In the last few semesters, we kind of like realized, oh, what are we working so hard for? And then we like just had a regularly good degree at the end. But
Mhm.
yeah, for the first 5, 6 semesters, we were like just competing and just trying to be the best and just hustling our absolute bumps off, right? Like just working, like you'd come at home into our shared flat and like we just be locked in a room just studying, like just right. So as far as I can remember my adulthood, I was just like working hard and then working hard for Tesla, working hard for university degree, which by the way, I have not even picked up. I graduated, I never picked up my diploma.
Mhm.
Can be bothered.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
It
That
just
is
doesn't matter. Yeah, it's
it
exactly.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one experience, right? The paper, what the pocket,
Yeah,
the paper,
yeah.
what the paper helps you,
That's it.
right?
That's it.
Especially
That's
in what
it.
you're doing.
That's it. I mean, okay, if you want to go to a company where it really matters, then that's not really a company I want to work for.
Yeah.
And then also, I just haven't been in a position where I really wanted to work for a company in a good minute. So it,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Um, And also, by the way, the funny thing, and I paint the same picture in terms of how relevant the diploma is or a piece of paper. When I joined Tesla as a salesperson for sales,
Mhm.
I had how much experience in sales do you think I had? Like a year, 2 years?
I have no idea, maybe nothing.
That's it, nothing. I had
You
zero,
came straight from
zero.
school, right?
Zero. Like, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
people have working jobs, this and that. I also, by the way, I was cleaning cars for a working job. So I went from cleaning
Okay.
cars to selling cars. So that was
Mhm.
fun.
Mhm.
But no, I did not have any sales experience. The best thing I did was a little bit of like lead gen or something, but that barely qualifies.
Mhm.
Like at like a local fair for the university's sake, just like some promotion, like here, you should enroll here, right? Like it's not really that crazy. And yeah, I was able to sell myself, right? And I sold myself by having a very unusual application, and it just like really stood out. And then that was my same rationale. Like if that application makes a bad impression to the company, good. That's
Mhm.
my filter, not there.
Mhm.
That's my filter that I don't want to work there,
Mhm. Very interesting. I love it,
right?
man. This is like something that you just said, like right, like with the you had the natural sales talent. Like I'm curious, is anybody in your family, your father or your mother, are they great salespeople or?
Uh, not really. Not really. I think
No, interesting.
it's a good
Okay.
question. It's a good question. Yeah, no, not really.
Where do you have it from? You know, like
I was always intrigued in the psychology part of human behavior.
Uh-huh,
And I would, for a very long time, consider myself the most extroverted person I know.
uh-huh,
And maybe here I come also across as like a very, I can talk easily, whatever. But these days, man, like I prefer just working and being by myself or the team or whatever. Like I don't need to socialize. And I'm
uh-huh,
extremely selective with my time, attention,
uh-huh,
also the people I spend time with. And that
uh-huh.
was not the case for a long time. But yeah, back in the days when I was like just chatting up everyone on campus, like I literally would have I have like a big jacket, like a winter coat, right? A really like a dapper one, right? It was like really cool. And I had like literally my pockets were full with candy, not for my sake. I didn't eat them, but I would just like walk around campus and just take one candy out in my fist. I would just fist bump random people, turn around, give it, and walk away. Right?
Really?
Yeah, I would just do like crazy shit, right? I was like the kind of person I'm crazy. And now these days, man, like I truthfully think a lot of people probably wouldn't like me anymore. Which I also think is fine, and I also consider qualifier because I no longer need to be liked by anyone, and I don't give a shit, right? I
Interesting.
genuinely am fine alienating the majority of people to attract the right people,
Yeah, I love
because
it.
I'm brutally direct with people in our proximity. Everyone needs to step up to the highest level, and if I don't see them step up, I lose respect for them, and I will tell them that, right? And that is most, even people like it's just in the indirect proximity. Like I will not shy away. I'm doing the same thing with everyone. Like meeting someone in a sauna or something, right? And then like they're building an app, which I think is cool. But then my
Mhm,
my first question is like, cool. So what's the plan? Like, how are you gonna make money? And
mhm,
I don't know. And right. And I'm just doing follow-up questions, not to be like a dick, but like to just help them, right? And
mhm.
those are hard questions. And if they reflect on it, it helps them like just push beyond. But for most people, they don't want to be pushed beyond. So
Yeah.
that makes them not like me, and they have a bad feeling when I'm around them, which is fine. That is
Mhm,
a qualifier. But it now
mhm,
attracts the right people who want to step up to the highest potential,
mhm. I love it, man. I
right?
had yesterday a conversation about this with a very good friend of mine, Noah, if you're listening. But like, what we said is like in general as an entrepreneur, I do believe you have to really carefully choose the people that you surround yourself with.
Extremely.
Right? And it starts with your relationship, is almost the most important thing. You shouldn't have, if you have a girlfriend that is just fucking annoying you all the time, it's like, yeah, you're working and yeah, forget about it. You're already fucking screwed, right?
I agree.
It's like
I
the
agree.
worst thing. I
I
have
agree.
been there, done that,
I agree.
and you just cannot do that, right? That's number one. And then number two, also, like you said, you need to surround yourself with people that push you forward, that go in the same way, that are basically like also entrepreneurs, that are
Yeah.
also pushing, that are also having big dreams. You don't want to surround yourself with people that are not on your level, because I mean it sounds cruel somehow, right? But I am the same. I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm very selective with my time, because like you
Mhm.
said, we are very busy, so we have stuff to do, right? I
Yeah.
have also maybe sometimes spend the time with my wife, right? It's also quite important. So I'm very selective with all the other stuff that I let in, very selective. And I don't feel bad about it whatsoever at all, because I think it's a very important thing that every entrepreneur has to do.
I think there's like again, I'm definitely disliked by most people. That's fine, but there's one nuance that makes it look a little bit better, because it's not just about like, hey, you all are all bad and like everything's wrong, and no, it's just not compatible.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's not that
Hmm.
what they're doing is wrong. It's just for the things that I'm striving to do, it is not compatible. And it's
Hmm.
also not that I'm gonna be extremely negative or whatever to them. No, I'm just basically being extremely direct in a way that they don't want it to hear, which by the way, I also expect from anyone the other way around. Like I
Hmm.
love getting feedback that hurts. Like this is brilliant. Like that's the only way to grow.
Hmm.
But when I am like in this kind of approaching them in a direct manner, or we talking just things about hard questions and such, it's not that they're wrong. I'm even if or even not on the same level. Like they can be 17 levels below. That's fine.
Hmm.
I need them to see that they're stepping up. And it's so easy to see it immediately when you just ask a question and like the way they react.
Hmm.
Like I had a meeting with another person also building a software. He was asking for advice. So I took some time. It was in a related space with a LinkedIn software. So I was like, you know what,
Hmm.
it's quite relatively relevant. And
Hmm.
as we were paying at the counter like of the restaurant, there was another person who was also like an indie hacker, right? And the same thing. I was like asking questions because it was interesting to me, but I was just trying to push him because he was clearly stuck. And instead of listening, I could see him mouthing, trying to get ready to respond. And also, even when he was showing his website on the phone, he was a little bit shaky,
Hmm.
you know. And like, this is not my goal, but you can tell immediately when a person is willing to process it, which I've seen many times. Like a light bulb just switches, and then the next time you see them, you see that they've done something about it. And
Hmm.
the beauty of that is like it's completely irregardless of level. I'm looking for people who are going from level 1 to level 2, or from level 14 to level 15. I'm not looking for people who stay on the same level.
Yeah.
That's really what it's about. So it's not
Mhm.
about being surrounded by people on the same level. It's about like if you see someone who's many levels below, but they're leveling up, my goodness, you can bring them up so fast. I have a
Yeah.
few friends in my close circle. Like one of them, his name is Frank. Like he's just been growing in terms of business and like just understanding the mindset of things that need to happen
Hmm.
so bloody fast. And I'm so proud of him because
Hmm.
like we've had a whole bunch of things in the evenings, just like, and I see him just bam, 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 right? And
Hmm.
that's it. It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be on the same level.
Yeah, I love it. No, you're so right. I mean, it just need to be people that want to grow and basically just want to always go further. I think that's like, if there's like one thing that I think is the most important thing for me in life, it's growth, right? You have
That's
to
it.
always grow. Like that's
That's
for
it.
me the same. Like I cannot be with people that don't want to grow, that are just like in this place and just stay like this and like work in a
Yeah.
9 to 5
Yeah.
and don't see nothing or left and right. And you know what? I mean, it's just not my kind of living. And then it's funny because I don't know how it was for you, but like when I was a kid, I was always feeling like a little bit like don't belonging. You know, I always had different kind of
Yeah.
thoughts and thinkings and feelings, and like I was just always a little bit different. And I never wanted to go into a 9 to 5. I fucking hated it. I I was in general just, like not really fitting into school and all that kind of stuff. But like when I met the first time, when I met in agency velocity, right? So we met the first time we had this meetup where first you know the people from the mastermind, but then you meet these young entrepreneurs, right? That are all basically running agencies. And
Yes.
like I swear to God, it felt like hope, right? It was like I
Yeah.
was the first time surrounded by people that were thinking like me, dreaming like me, building like me. And it was amazing. I'll never forget that. And today I'm only surrounded by people like that.
That's
But
it.
it just
That's it.
changed something in my life, like in a
That's it.
crazy way, where I realized, hey, my God, like it's amazing to talk to people like this that have all these big dreams that I'm not alone, right? Because before I felt like a little bit like, okay, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Obviously, I know other people, I see them on Instagram, blah, blah, blah. But like I never felt part of a community of like-minded people, you know what I mean, that are really, really, really going for gold. All right. And like that's why I'm creating now the conscious circle. So basically, I don't know if I told you this, but everybody everybody goes for limitless reward. That's my rule. Otherwise, you cannot join. Because I want only people that went through my course because they are consciously on the level that we are. Okay. and everybody that goes through this can join the conscious circle. That's basically a mastermind that I built for everyone that went through the course and want to continue the process. There's like live events in there. There will be like an app inside there where we also competing against each other, where we again, because I'm fucking love
Which
competing
is
as well.
extremely important. Extremely
It's the
important. You
fucking
can just
best thing, man.
make it a little bit toxic, shame people when they underperform. I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it.
Full all in, man.
Yes, sir.
It's the fucking
That's
best
it,
thing.
man.
I remember like I won this ring here. Look at this one. Look at really quickly. So this one, right? So we had this, we call
Ah, the
it
zoom.
Rambo Link. Wait, let me come back
The
from my
zoom is a little
camera.
bit funnier. Ah,
Yeah. So like we
there
call
you
it
go.
Ram Olympics, right?
Ah, there we go.
And I got this massive thing here. Look at this, man. Massive thing.
Hey,
Right? And I got it because I
that's
was
brilliant.
second. And the first one got like a belt, right? Like a proper
Yeah,
wrestling
there you
belt.
go. There you go.
And it was so much fun. Like we made this thing around Christmas. And I remember I was just putting so much work in. I'm not getting it off anymore. I was putting so much work in that I always do. Don't get me wrong. I always put a lot of work in. But when you have this competition, also when I was
That's
a
it.
good friend of mine, it was just one more time more. And I love it. So we're building an app that basically allows everybody in the mastermind to first of all compete with themselves. So basically, you compete with yourself maybe the month before, the year before. So this is the longer plan. But you also compete with all the people in the mastermind. All right.
Yeah.
So basically, you have like habits and stuff like this, running, meditation, whatever, like all kind of stuff. You collect points, and it's all a big game basically. And there will be a quarterly winner, a yearly winner. There will be prizes and stuff like this. That's what we want to do.
The value of that is big, yeah. Uh, I mean, I do think not everything matters. Sometimes you just need to work hard.
Yeah.
Meditation is cool, but if it helps you be accountable and it just puts you in the right frame into becoming the right person that you want to be, then I think that's absolutely tremendous. There's nothing like just some very, very not healthy competition. It should not be healthy. There's nothing like toxic competition that just makes you go harder. There's
Yeah.
nothing like just being behind that makes you work harder to go. Because if you like, we're social people, we're social animals, right? So we are at the end of the day, even as entrepreneurs, being a bit more selective and whatnot, we still look for the same people or just similar people like us. So
Hmm.
how can we expect to belong if we're not like them?
Yeah. Very true. All right.
So just gotta man up a little bit and just do what it needs to take. Yeah, and
Yeah.
spoiler by the way, if you suddenly just achieve something big and you step into a room, like the fact that you achieve something great makes you be respected in that room.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it, yeah, everyone wants to be in that room, but even if you were in that room, no one would want to talk to you.
Mm. Yeah. Agreed. Very interesting. Cool, man. Let's talk about a little bit about the space because it's also obviously something that is an
Yeah.
interesting thing that is basically aligning us. So, do you started 2.5 years ago, I would say. That's what you just said, right? So, like, what
In
would you
that
say,
ballpark,
like,
yeah.
how the space has changed from the start, from the point that you started until today?
I'll tell you what, like I stopped the scraper because I could sense back then that data was already getting commoditized. It
Hmm.
wasn't as valuable anymore as like let's say 4 years ago, like also before I joined.
Hmm.
And also like I'm not gonna say the name. I have to be a little bit careful because it's gonna be public. But I did build a scraper before, which was not illegal. It's just a TNC non-compliant thing.
Hmm.
And the yeah, the scraper was it was an interesting experience of learning that like first toes into like actual software, right? When before I just did like service-based stuff. But the thing is, it's just I think it can be summarized in one thing. The industry changes faster than any other industry,
Mm.
which makes it extremely fun if you're agile, and which makes it extremely fun to build something big because in no other place can you become something big in the software space, particularly agencies, like it's a different ballpark.
Yeah.
But in no other space can you become literally a monopoly, a massive market share player faster than in an industry that just moves fast. And the
Mm.
speed comes out of necessity to the nature of the industry. Because what cold email deliverability or just cold email, outbound GTM, like all of that, it's just the same stuff, right? What it is it's a cat and mouse game. and the person who wins is the person who is ahead. Right? And that's why everyone who is in here is trained to move fast. That's why it's so extremely rare. Every once in a while I see it from one of our customers coming in, but it's rare to see an agency or an outbound service provider who is an old person. Like when I say old person, I mean again, not old, but 40s, 50s. We only have young people in the industry. Why? Because it's the young people who can be agile and adapt faster. So that makes it really, really fun. And that's also why this is such a great market here, because if you look at Clay, for example, like within a very short span of a few years, they literally became $1 billion company.
Yeah.
Right. If you look at Smartlead and Instantly, they are, well, used to be the duopoly. Now there's a few players coming also that took a good market share. But essentially from them not being a thing in a sequencer space, they just essentially turned that into a duopoly where each of them made like an estimate of 30 to 50 million ARR. Right, within a span of like a year or two. Like that is unheard of in most software spaces.
Crazy, yeah.
And that is the fun thing, because the reason why it is possible is when everyone is trained to move fast. And then suddenly everyone agrees this one's the best. Everyone goes there and makes that person a monopoly. And this doesn't happen anywhere else. So it's a very interesting industry. It's a very fun one. And I like to think of it as SEO in like 2008, 2010, right? And now look, 10 years, 15 years later, you have SEMrush, you have Ahrefs, like $300 million in revenue per year, right? That same stuff will happen in this industry.
Very interesting. Okay. And like, what makes you different? Because I mean, I have a lot of friends that wants to create softwares, right?
Yeah.
Like everybody that has an agency is like, I also have this SaaS tool and blah, blah, blah. But what I see almost everywhere, Yannick, is that they have the ideas, they start something, they try it a little bit, and most of the time after 2, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, maybe a year, they give up, right? Because it's like really a market that you need to have a lot of patience. You need to have also, I believe, some kind of yeah, maybe cash flow or whatever on the side, maybe that you had before, because it takes time. Or like you just said, super fucking fast. But like I know from a lot of my friends that say like, ah, it's so difficult. I'm maybe hardly making like $1,000 or $2,000 on revenue. You know what I mean? Especially if the software is like, I don't know, like $39 or selling $69 or whatever. Like, what's your secret there? Like, how could you make it? You know what I mean? I'm very curious about this.
Is this something again where I would say in a one-on-one person when someone asks me that question, and this will get me disliked, but I would just say man up. Like if it feels hard and you want to give up, don't. Like I've told you also when you asked me, oh, would I want to come on a podcast? And I said, technically, I have some interesting backstory to share, and we haven't gotten into that, and maybe we will, maybe we will not. But the short version is I had a chapter longer than most people would ever endure, where I like rents $100 per month, right? Living in a place where like I'm showering like this out of a bucket. And I did not consider even once to get a job. I was full in entrepreneurship for years, for a very long time, suffering through all of that. And I've persevered, and like even like Sending.ac for a very long time, we did not make essentially any, or not any, we did make revenue, but not nearly enough. Like you've been with us for a very long time from the very beginning. So we really appreciate you. And that's why we have a good relationship.
Yeah.
But we have dragged along for a long time, not because this industry doesn't allow us to move fast. And like, I'm not going to say some names, but there's multiple people who just went to the moon really quick, but then they died just as fast because they get a reputation. Like once it's lost, it's lost.
Yeah, exactly. This is the thing as well,
right.
right? Exactly. Are we going into this?
That's
But yeah,
it.
let's continue.
That's it. And I genuinely care about building the best product, and like we will be a massive market shareholder. We are already growing very fast. We're in a good trajectory, but we will be the dominant player in infrastructure of cold email and much beyond. Sending.ac is just the start of many things. We actually are an AC suite, but that's a conversation for maybe for later another time. We will be a massive player, and we would not get there if we had taken a shortcut early for revenue. Like we had like the first 6 months, no revenue. Like for another 6 months, I think the average was probably like not much, like just mid 4 digits in MRR. That's nothing. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
yeah, yeah,
consider we had costs because we're not running an agency. So we actually have
yeah,
overheads. We have to pay for people. We have
yeah,
to have like infrastructure costs. Like it was very expensive. So basically I had to just drag along and just make and just somehow survive and living in a third world country where like life can be just a few $100 per month, right? Just
yeah.
dragging along and working my ass off.
Mm-hmm.
And this, so it's just, yes, it's possible to move fast, and we will, and people have done it, but because they didn't do the groundwork, they went up and they died fast.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we haven't gone there for a very long time because what we cared about is building the best product, actually having a massive amount of R&D, and really, 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 really making sure that by the time we start scaling and we sell to people, that our product is good and it stays good as we scale. Because yeah, it's a little bit of spoiler. That is the reason why there is no big player in infrastructure, because no one nailed that. No one in the entire industry of a massive, 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 massive industry has managed to nail this, and that's why there's so many 0 point whatever percent market share player. There's like at sand at the ocean. Everyone tries to start it because it's easy to start. It's impossible to build well and to scale while it stays well, stays good,
Mm. Yeah.
right?
All right. I mean, you said something that is a very interesting point that I want to go quickly into as well, because
Yeah,
I've seen it very often. Like people bring out infrastructure. It has some massive fuck up, everything is burning, and nobody's going to buy it anymore. Like
that's it. That's
it's
it.
gone, right? Like they can
That's
try
it.
whatever the fuck they want. Maybe they're gonna get new clients, but the clients that they had, they will never come back because it's just
That's
they
it.
rely so much on it. Like always, you mean running an agency. I mean, domains are burned. You're screwed. You lose your client. You have
That's
to
it.
go to your client, tell them, "Oh my God, sorry, the domains are burned." Blah blah blah. It's not a fucking nice thing to do. So it's very hard. If you one time lost trust in this industry, you're really screwed, right?
That's it.
And I mean, I know I'm with you guys already now since what, like since the start almost. I think I was in the, when you only let like clients in the like yeah, somehow
Application
by
only. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So you had to apply for it, and it was
Yeah.
they
Long
were made
time
it
ago.
actually. It was actually a good marketing move as well because it was like, okay, like if you cannot have it, you want it, right? So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, we have only this kind of small amount of people because we are caring that everything is perfect, blah 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 blah. So I was applying for it, and then finally you let me in. And since then I'm in, and I have to say, like I obviously tried a lot of different kind of infrastructure. And yours is actually really good. Like I have almost zero problems. And plus, like I mean, obviously we have a very good relationships and you do me an amazing service. So that's why I never changed, right? And I changed a lot of different ones through this time that we are together. I changed a lot of ones on the side, but I always stayed with you, right?
Appreciate it. Yeah.
And I know because like two things. Number one is the reliability. Like I know, for example, with other software, with other infrastructures, they always disconnect all the time. And with you, almost never, which is insane to me
By
because,
the
like,
way,
honestly, like I'm so used to this stuff is disconnecting, and you fucking never disconnect, and it's unbelievable. But like,
w-
this is amazing. And then obviously, the service that you are giving as well, especially to me, is obviously super special, right? So this I need to one time say, guys, so if you want to look for good infrastructure, these guys, they really know what they're doing. If you want a recommendation from me, then that's definitely something that you should give a go. I don't know if
media
you can give us a
testimonial. Check.
special
Clip it.
discount after
Yeah, there
maybe a
we go.
special
There we go.
discount
There we go.
code.
We do that. We do that. We
I
do
think
that.
we can do that. We talk to
Yeah.
Yannick. Let's see what we can
Sweet.
do for
Yeah.
you viewers.
Clipped. Clipped. Let's do it. No,
Yeah.
but I wanted to say something only because there's one thing, because we like we're perfectionists. We want to build the best thing. I think you
Hmm.
know that by now. And you mentioned disconnects. They also are happening sometimes because there's some very complicated things happening behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah.
But we have been R&Ding a lot, and there's one thing like we're still gonna have a few test runs, make sure everything's good before we like put it out for like bring it out for all users. But
Hmm.
the way it's looking, we may be the first people in the entire industry to have an absolutely perfect solution for disconnects that no one else has right now.
Hmm.
So that's very exciting, especially in the Azure space. Like
Hmm.
there's no, it's a big problem that disconnects, etc. So like we are cooking up a very interesting solution. So to that, like even though it's very rare, you already mentioned, very cool, but that it basically virtually is a non-existent issue. So that's
Hmm.
pretty cool. Some exciting stuff. But yeah, it's
Hmm.
just again, we are perfectionists, so I just wanted to squeeze it in that this
Hmm.
is also happening as we speak.
Hmm. That's also something that is with Yannick. Yeah, he's an absolute perfectionist. In this case, what he's doing, I think that's a very big advantage because you need to be like this. You always need to get better and better with this kind of things because, like, I mean, obviously, like also the spam servers and that stuff, they're not sleeping either, right? So like
That's
everything
it.
is getting more complicated
That's
as we
it.
speak. And so you need to always adapt because otherwise you're just gone. And I think you guys doing really a good job there. But Ray, let me go really into that thing because obviously you said already about it, and I'm really curious because I'm like, I also have my rock bottom story where I was living in a friend's
Yeah.
pool house, right? So like I basically lived in a friend's pool house, lost it all, lost my company, lost my car, my girlfriend, like the whole 9 yards, right? It's like
There you go.
everything that you can imagine and living in this friend's pool house. Um, and there, when I realized that I completely lost control over my mind and I got it back, and I mean, you guys know my story, but like I always love this rock bottom story. So yeah, tell me a little bit about this hard time where you said also man up. Like what, how did that happen? And was it also in combination with building the software? Like because I mean, I think I think especially a story like this can be really helpful for people that are building and grinding.
I can tell the story, but I'd almost think the lessons from it are more important.
Yeah, okay, tell both if you whatever. Yeah.
I mean, the story is just, it's just you kept going. I wanted to do this. This is the dream, and I kept going, and I didn't know any better, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've mentioned just for example, one of my friends, Frank, right, who have been in very close proximity the last few months, how quickly he's grown, and even just like the other conversation I just mentioned also was very recent, where the other guy did the software in the space, and then like I gave him some guidance, like he literally said multiple times, like, you just saved me months. And I'm like, yeah, I lost years. So I can definitely save you months. And that's the truth. I wish I had people who just guided me the way I've been now guiding some other people, and also people coming on board and like actually building a big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And and by the way, not everyone should be an entrepreneur. I think this is not a negative thing. And I'm not going to say, oh, you should be an employee. No, I think some people should just join an entrepreneur, someone who
Mm-hmm.
knows how to lead, someone who's already taken the steps from like just this level here to like this level, like mentally, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to bring everyone along. I think I'm fortunate to consider myself now in that position, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we even have, it's a bit detour, but we have another person who had a very successful agency, like clients paying him 40,000 per month,
Mm-hmm.
right? Actually, one of the competitor clients who he helped grow to hundred thousands in MRR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he like has a good agency, 40K per month in spend, and he is joining us now at a single digit equity stake, which I don't say to discredit him. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's the smartest move that he can possibly make. But it's just beautiful building like a big pie where everyone can just win. And I've also, like, by the way, stepped back massively in equity. Like, it's just a big pool for everyone. And so not everyone should be an entrepreneur. I think some people will have the biggest win they can possibly have by having someone else fit them into that win as a mold and make sure they get shaped to the highest potential they could possibly have that they would not be able to do otherwise. And truthfully, if I had someone years ago who would be able to shape me in that, I could very much see myself joining another company and being an entrepreneur within that company, right? But I didn't have that. I had to take the hard lessons and to have some lessons that could have been weeks that took years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the story is it's not really much others to say than I didn't know any better, and I did my best, and I did nothing but work. And I just did that business, it didn't work, and I did that business, didn't work, and I didn't know any better to realize that this business was a terrible business to commit to for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just that and pure perseverance of just doing one venture and the next and the next. And the actual story behind just like, and it's not even going into learnings yet, actually, but
Mm-hmm.
the actual story is just that I left Germany. I wasn't happy there, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to build,
Understandable.
yeah, right? Yeah, it's funny, but it's just such a baseline. I always knew like I'm gonna sell everything I
Yeah.
have, like let's go.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that. And that's why I didn't pick up my diploma, because my last internship was with a Y Combinator startup. That was very cool because the founder there literally built $1 billion company, and I was able to work as entrepreneur in residence with this
Mm-hmm.
person quite closely and learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like also half a year, and after that I was like, okay, fuck it, let's go. Like I'm gonna just do my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't go back home. And
Mm-hmm.
well, I wouldn't consider it my home anymore. But
Mm-hmm.
and then I just stuck out there, and that was in Bali. And we started we started an internship agency. it's like anyone who has half their brain cells knows how bad of a business this is, but it just I cannot imagine that I like to think of myself as a qualified person. That was after Tesla and all that, right? But I just didn't see it. It was like we were targeting students in Europe to have an internship overseas. Okay. The cool thing is because we had 60, 70 host companies, we had exclusive contracts, we could guarantee an internship, which was awesome, right?
Yeah.
But the internships are in Indonesia. Indonesia does not have high salary, which means even if they were paid, it would be so minuscule, it doesn't matter. So therefore, the internship were unpaid. And for our service to connect them and help them with bloody everything, we had to pay, they had to charge, they had to pay for it. So
They were
something people
pissed.
don't, yeah, not just that, like we're targeting the brokest audience,
Yeah.
B2C, high ticket,
That's true.
massive barrier of entry and cost and like they have to take a flight, visa overseas.
Yeah. Oh, fuck.
They're not even adults. We have to essentially babysit them, just risk. Like it's the worst business you could possibly do. It was so bad, and I did this for like way longer than I'm comfortable speaking out. And halfway in that venture, we realized this wasn't gonna be the big thing, and then we started like so the business partner I had back then, which he's a great person, but it was just not a good fit in terms of who does what, and also like some personal things. And halfway we realized, okay, let's just start other things, and then he did some stuff, and I did some stuff. Then we tried doing some stuff together again, and that entire period was like basically 3 years, a very long time. So which it sounds like a short period, but like no, I've been really trying. And then the internship agency we've done in Lombok, the island next to Bali.
Okay.
So in Bali, there was another person who did this, and I think that's kind of why we thought we will be millionaires doing this, because he told us he had 2,000 students on the island. And we saw 7 students in the cafe that we always go to. It was like a motorbike custom cafe where we would hang out a lot. And he was there also, and he brought like 6, 7 French interns to that place. And then he mentioned, oh yeah, we have 2,000 students all in Bali. And I was like, oh, well, he probably just had 7. He just talked bullshit. And we believed him. And he said like, oh, they're paying us $600, $700 each. And then I was like doing, wow, $600, $700 times 2,000. Oh, you're gonna be rich. And we believed it. And then he was like, he was not. I only like to doing win-wins. I don't like to do win-lose. Like these days, he thought different. He went win-lose. Bali is so big. We had enough space for everyone. But he genuinely indirectly threatened us, and we believed the threat. So we decided, you know what? Let's not start it in Bali. Let's do it in Lombok, which is was a terrible decision. And long story short, we went there and for a very long time to get all of the contracts going with all the host companies, to get like a funnel going, just kind of figure out the parts of entrepreneurship that should matter the most, which is money, and help it along. And having employees and everything, and everyone else gets paid first. And like, right, we never really got paid. And the entire period, it just dragged along a little bit too long. And it was not just the rent being cheap. The bigger problem was because Lombok is not like Bali. Bali is not Indonesia. Lombok is Indonesia. And what I mean by that is we spent right after COVID a lot of time, a bit more than half a year in particular, in environments where there was no white people. When I really mean like no white people, I really mean no white people. I'm spending $100 in rent. I've no one to talk to other my ex back then, which now is my ex, and that business partner. There's the 3 of us, and just working out in cafes, and he's just going to all of the host companies doing the deals, and I'm just trying to like, get us the revenue and traffic and customers in, right? Which guess what? It's bloody hard to sell. And that just dragged along, and it shaped me in a way that I don't know if it's definitely good, but it definitely did some bad things to me as well, because of how isolated you were for a long time. And then eventually we will move out, still trying to make this business work, and have this entire chapter of those 3 years of venture. And the place we moved to is called Kuta Lombok, the south, the touristic area. And a lot of people listening in here, they may know it and they may associate it with paradise, which I get if you're in the bubble and you experience it like anyone else does, not like the people living there. And I have a really deep love-hate relationship with Indonesia, a really deep one, because I learned the language eventually, not in that lonely period, isolated much later, but which would have been helpful. But I learned the language and I really know the culture. Also did some real estate there later on where I lost a lot of money, so again the failures never stopped. And people think of Kuta Lombok as paradise because they see the bubble from the perspective of a tourist who's there for 7 days. If you stay in this bubble and if you're there for 7 days, yes, it is. If you're there longer, you live there and you actually learn all the cultures, then even though there's some good stuff there, there's a lot of bad things that you have to deal with. The list is very long. And the problem that comes with the place being very touristic, literally day tourism, comes with the consequence that, oh my goodness, yes, I could finally see white people, which is a thing I never thought I would be able to experience, like being happy to see a foreigner, you know, a Western person, like a Caucasian person, like I never, people don't understand the joy you feel after you've gone through that. It's very ridiculous. But yeah, we lived there, and for 2 months there was like, yeah, finally, like, yeah, not lonely, but actually the loneliness never stopped. Because when you have a place of only day tourism, everyone comes, goes. And if you take all of those people away, there's nobody left. And especially from the few people that were left there because they were doing some real estate projects and whatnot, no one was an entrepreneur trying to build something massive. Everyone was like either a surfer or like just some savings or like just trying to enjoy life because they're in freaking paradise. And I was only there because I lived there with my ex and still like it was a cheap place to have my runway, etc. And I was the only person, and I really mean not like 7 people, like the only person in the entire bloody town would work 24/7 for years. And yeah, that was just you see, I'm some trauma or whatever there, but it's been a long journey,
And then basically, like you said, you had this internship thing, and then after the next step was the scraper, or like
No, that was 1.5 years in between, at least.
so you tried a lot of different stuff.
A lot of stuff. I learned a lot of stuff along the way.
Okay, and like, what was your driver, like your North Star? Like, what was always your driving you, especially in the situations where it was really tough?
I can't answer that. There was no other choice ever.
There's no North Star.
It was either that or live under a bridge. And I mean, I virtually already did. So what else is there to lose? Just, I don't know.
Okay.
There was never an alternative.
Okay. And what's like,
And I mean, yeah, we're wrapping this up and maybe we'll have another one. But I think the one thing that I would have wanted to share a little bit is about like what like the learnings that brought me here. Because honestly, what I'm building right now, I'm so grateful. I'm so happy to build something really big with an amazing team of people. And again, we're always looking for the very best. So if you are not the very best, by no means, just please don't waste your time and ours. But if you consider yourself as wanting to be the best, bloody hell, careers.ac, careers.ac, just go apply. There is a whole bunch of listings open. But we are building the very, very best in a big team. And I am really proud to consider myself literally something that is titled a CEO. And I don't mean this as like a little whatever. I just mean it like there comes a weight, responsibilities, and most importantly, learnings and lessons that are hard required for you to build something big and not just something wannabe where you're role playing an entrepreneur. And I'm really grateful for all of the bullshit that I went through and the lessons that could have been much shorter. And that basically puts me in a position that I have people entrusting us and me leading the team to build something really big. And I'm so grateful for this. I'm so happy waking up every day with the team and working on this. And if we have another one of those, I would love to kind of go into the mindset and kind of things that really differentiate a person that builds something small or builds something big on purpose. Yeah, which is literally a thing you can do by design, by doing the right decisions. So maybe we'll go into that on another occasion.
Yeah, I mean, let's go. Like, I give to, I mean, obviously, I'm super curious to find out what you have there, right? And like, this is obviously lessons that are very interesting for my audience. So at least give us a spoiler if we're not going even deeper into it. We still have like 15 minutes or something like this. So tell me what you just said there. Like, go a little bit, elaborate on it, because obviously that's a super interesting point, right?
I'll give you a little bit of a tease, but I think that's a big conversation in and of itself. So
Mhm.
let's have the comments decide whether that's worth it. And
Mhm.
I should spend again some of my time coming back for this.
Yeah.
And you also hosting me, obviously, really appreciate the invite.
Yeah.
I think one little tease I can give here is the number one skill you can possibly learn is resource management. That's it.
Mhm.
And in order for you to understand how valuable this is, you need to understand what it really means. Because resource means everything. It means money. It means literally contracts. It means people. It means partners. It means suppliers. It means customers. It means time. It means your attention. It means everything. And the beautiful thing about resource management, it goes beyond you. So the most important thing you can learn if you really want to go big is to really understand this skill that you can make the best decisions for everyone involved, which makes you only a small piece of it.
Mhm.
Right? So really understanding what needs to move, who is responsible, how do we get there, what's the right decision. So for example, obviously we've been playing the long game, right? We've been around for a long time, and only now we're really picking up. And we're gonna have we still have so much to grow, right? It's gonna be really exciting.
Mhm.
But a good example is that again, also an example for how the industry moves fast.
Mhm.
2 years ago, you could have sent a cold email campaign. Oh, we have infrastructure. Price, reply, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that would be enough. Matter of
Yeah.
fact, that's how those 700K and 833K equivalent MRR, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Players have grown
Totally.
to that market share. That's all they bloody did.
Yeah.
And that those days are over,
Mhm.
because everyone now sells infrastructure because it's literally easy to start. So if the takeaway from this podcast is ghost, I'm gonna start myself like, sure, try, give it your all, but just understand that you're not building a SaaS, you're building infrastructure as a service, and bloody hell, this is complicated. It's easy to start. It's very easy to put up a website and sell it. It's extremely hard to do it well. Extremely hard.
Mhm.
And that means that if we would now, because everyone has those websites, it's getting consolidated, and everyone knows how to send cold email when they use their own infrastructure, right? So especially when they build their own infrastructure, it's still good if they're the only customer. So they will use cold email itself, and that means right now marketing is extremely consolidated if you just go the average route, which now brings us to that lesson that I'm about to say, is that even for marketing, we're doing our entire mode is two things. It's the AC suite, it's the entire ecosystem that I've shared publicly. And number two, it's our distribution. Nobody will be able to beat us on distribution, period. It is so
Mhm.
convoluted, it is so elaborate, it is so beautiful. We just need more people to come in and help us to put those pieces together, but all the pieces are there. We just need to give you the responsibility to go run with it and just be proud of what you've done with the pieces that are given, right? And the ones that you own. And the way this ties into the lesson is what we're looking at is the equivalent of putting in 1 and getting out 67.
Mhm.
And this is what you will get as the outcome across every department and unit of the business when you start understanding resource management and pushing everyone to the absolute highest grades. Because if you have something where you put in 1 and you get out 1, or even less, or you get a
Mhm.
1 and congratulations, you get out 4, that's
Mhm.
fine. You'll do okay, but you
Mhm.
will never do big.
Mhm.
And this is kind of where this boils down to. The biggest skill you can possibly learn is resource management and figuring out how you maximize your leverage. Yeah, so the 1 in, 67 out, that's just another way of saying leverage, because that is input to output. So
Mhm.
you need to value your time, everyone else's time, as more than anything else, because you're looking at someone that you're looking to have an output of 67 for everyone they put in. And if
Mhm.
that person doesn't do that, then it's a you problem, you suck at leadership to get them there, or you suck at leadership because you picked the wrong person.
Working
Right?
great. That was amazing, basically. I really like that. So one thing though, because like I had a video before where I said you're never going to be a CEO, you will always be a technician, right? That was one of my videos because I know you guys, a lot of you guys watching out there, agency owners specifically, you're basically freelancers. Like that's what you are,
That's
right?
it.
So basically you're
That's it.
just running a one thing. You basically call yourself CEO, but you're not a CEO. But Yannick is
That's
a
it.
CEO. That's something that I wanted to quickly to point out here because
Appreciate
like
that.
that's the
Definitely.
next thing, right? Like also me, if I only hire people that upgrade me. I would never hire people that I have to show SOPs every fucking thing that they have to do.
That's it.
Like, no, rather, like I had Frank on here the last week as well, and he said the same. He said, like, Johannes, if I have to tell people everything that they have to do, I fire them.
That's it.
And it's
That's
true.
it.
Like this is like it helps you nothing. And I think this is a big thing what a lot of your guys are doing, what I see, because you are in this kind of thing, like I have to stay in my safety thing, I cannot spend too much money on stuff and blah blah blah. And then you hire some people where you just basically pay them a very minimal salary, right? And that's basically they do like small things for you. But in the end, first of all, you have to control still everything. Second, you have to show them everything. And in the end, you're having more work than that you wouldn't have when they're not working for you. It's crazy. But instead of that, if you like what you're also saying, hiring A players is the number one most important thing that you need to do if you want to build something big. And you have to
Yeah.
do this even when it's tight or whatever, the budget is tight, but you need to always have the bigger picture in mind. If you want to build big, you can only build with A players.
And that's also a beautiful thing because here's a great example. Again, I have no longer a majority of this company. And that means, guess what? Again, everything is a resource management. Equity is one of them. So you can still attract the right people using the resources you have, structured the right way. Right? Again, you cannot waste resources. So you have to make a right deal structure. You shouldn't do anything without vesting. And in our case, we innovated the way we vest, period. Right. So it's always resource management. And we are cutting it a bit long here, so I will not go into that too much, but just to add one layer into that because it's relevant to most of people listening here. Most people here are running an agency, right? And you need to understand that the only thing that stops you from being a massive agency, and there is some really big agencies out there, right?
Yeah.
The only thing that stops anyone from running a big agency is operations.
Yeah.
Agencies are an operational scale problem. Each company is different. Infrastructure is as a service is like one of the most complicated things you can do. Like I do not recommend it. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
Please try. I don't want to discourage, but this is a very difficult business. Agencies are much easier, much easier. But agencies are the easiest to get to 20, 30K. The reason you never see any agency but above 30K and like 99.9% like cap out there is because from then on, it requires operations. And operations is uniquely tied with resource management. That's it. So if you want to grow your agency, you need to understand that the bottleneck is literally operations, because you will be able to sell a client and maybe the ceiling is 50, not 30, right? It depends on your ticket size, what you're able to sell. But at some point you hit capacity and you don't know how to extend it. And once you have employees that are decently doing their job and you have costs, everything subtracted, you're looking at a well-paid job where you have 4 times the work hours. That is an agency that caps out at 15 to 30K. This is the reality of it.
Yeah, really.
And no security, and you will never be able to sell it because
No.
you've never managed operations. No one will buy an agency from you if you are the agency.
Exactly. Yeah, so true. And like, I mean, I think this is a very good point. Like, on one side is operations, I believe, and the other thing is that I'm always also obviously advocating for is like really mindset. Like, really, like you just still have this 10K mindset. You know, like this is exactly. It starts with hiring.
It goes into
it goes into everything else that you do. You just basically always think like I'm the business, right? You don't hire A players, and obviously also, yeah, you don't have the right operations in place. But this is all coming together. I think. It's like I have the same feeling. Like I believe, really, I mean, they say it's like 95% of agencies never make it to 25K MOR consistently, and it's the same feeling when I look around. It's the same feeling exactly that I have, and I believe it's two things, like you said, operations, but operations also come from mindset. You just don't have the mindset for the operations.
It's combined.
You know what I mean?
I'm just assuming I'm assuming this is part of it. Like it's just like the same thing when I said like man up. Like I cannot teach you how to just persevere.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
This goes hand in hand, and like learning resource management, basically it requires you making the right decisions. And if you cannot make the right decisions, you never had the right mindset in the first place.
yeah.
So
So exactly how important also has been like, because to end this, obviously, like how important has been your mindset going through all this journey? Like what you had for sure was moments where like fuck that, man, I'm a fucking what was the stuff that helped you going mindset wise through the journey that you went through?
again, I'm risking being disliked here, but I really don't think those things are something to consider, or they matter. I don't think having a 3-hour morning routine matters. What matters is the things that you were able to identify as the most important get done in the best way with the highest output in the least amount of time. That's the only thing that matters. And you would not be able to do that if you don't have achieved a certain level of mindset. So yes, mindset is important, but I genuinely don't think, again, I may risk being alienated here, but I don't think focusing on that being the problem is the solution. This will automatically be in place by learning the right lessons and learning how to make the right decisions. Then the mindset just automatically shifts. Like I
Hmm.
would not be able to do what I do right now 4 years ago.
Hmm.
The accumulation of all of those things have been through a sheer painful amount of lessons and learnings.
Hmm.
That also could have been much shorter. That's the only regret. I really am proud about the perseverance, but I wish I would have learned those lessons faster.
Hmm.
And I'm able to give those lessons to other people much faster. So at least I'm getting like an total ROI, like utilitarian, like it for the greater good. It's fine to
Hmm.
balance it out. But yeah, the mindset is super important. I will never undervalue it, but I just don't think anyone should focus on that. Same like no one should do a bloody like cold bath. Like if it makes you happy, sure, but this will not make your business have 2 more MRR per month. Neither will it do 10 or 100 or 10,000. Like the mindset will come with you learning to make the right decisions.
Hmm. Okay. So basically, like what you say, obviously, is just to really ship things because people are mostly always in their heads and thinking, I do this, I do that, but you just fucking do things, fail, make mistakes on the way, and take the lessons, and that's how you grow.
Listen, if someone can fucking man up and do what needs to be done, and there's nothing you can do for them.
Hmm. Hmm. Okay. All right. What would you say, like, my last question? If you could talk to your younger self, right?
Mm. Oh no.
Like before you started all this journey, let's say you just started out to be an entrepreneur. Um, there would be three things that you could tell to your younger self. What would this be?
Two come to mind immediately. The third one, I'd want to probably have like a 30-second thinking break.
Hmm.
Um, Number one is maximize success is random to a degree. So when you buy return with risk, and the reason why some people have a higher chance of making something really big work is because they get better at managing the risk. So they basically take randomness and they can learn to control it, which is like something completely unfathomable for everyone else. So you buy a return with risk, and then you manage to reduce it. And risk essentially boils down to randomness that happens, and then the moment you identify something happening and you put your foot in the door and you do something with it, that is essentially what this is. And you cannot change, you cannot control randomness, right? You can only identify and then do something with it once the door opens and you are able to see the door opening. So the only thing you can control about that are two things, your three things: your ability to identify it, your ability to go do something with it, put your foot in the door and not let that foot go, assuming it's the right one, because several doors will open and some of them are not the right ones you should go for. So identifying it, controlling it, and increasing your odds of randomness opening up the door. And that is my first advice. It's go and maximize your proximity of serendipity, which are two fancy words, but it's just serendipity, just randomness, things happening for a good reason, which is your environment. Don't go like me, bloody hell. Don't go like me,
Hmm.
isolated, just grind mode, monk mode, into a fucking rural part of Indonesia where
Hmm.
no one can feedback loop you and you're just by yourself being an absolute unit of an idiot. Don't do that.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Go somewhere where you have the highest chance of running into people, and right, so just maximize your odds of of that randomness. That's my advice number one, and that's just basically where you are. If you're right now sitting in some random old town in whatever random country and you're miserable, and guess what? Everyone else is miserable there as well. And also be careful. Some places look like the right place, like Bali, like everyone is like a bloody, like there's a whole bunch of people that don't really matter also. So, but you can still increase the chance. Just be in the right circles. That's number one. The location, geography, etc. Number two is finding the right people to listen to. I'm also, again, very harsh with this. I'm not a big fan of coaching, etc., because most people get fucked by listening to the wrong people, because you can listen to the wrong people. However, if you listen to the right people, and it's usually people who have the most to lose by actually giving you their time. It's a good qualifier for who you should be listening to. If you listen to the right people, nothing will move you faster. Nothing. I could have literally, and I really don't mean this lightly, I really would have saved years of my life if I just had the right person to listen to much sooner. And I've learned from a lot of people. Like the person that has been tremendous in the last year of my entire entrepreneurship journey, where I've learned probably more than the years combined, is a person who had like $1 billion in ad transactions per month. Massive entrepreneur. He's one of my closest friends, right? He's also living in the same city. And he's been absolutely tremendous and key in the help when I needed to restructure the company, where it's essentially it looked like a dead end and everyone else would have given up. But I managed to restructure the company and keep thriving and keep growing it. And he was pivotal in that journey. So the second thing is just listening to the right people. And the third thing, rather than me taking a 30-second break, I'll do you one better. I'll have a very long break to think about this, and I'll say it on the second episode if people in the comments actually want to hear
it. Okay, right. Okay, I mean, I think there was massive value for the audience. I really appreciate you joining, and
Likewise.
yeah, man, like obviously we can definitely do a second one if the people are interested. Leave a comment, and I bring in Yannick one more time, and he can share more of his wisdom. And yeah, guys, thank you for staying on and doing this with me, Mr. Yannick. And guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Take care.
Glad to have you as a friend, Johannes. Really appreciate you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.